though over time people had forgotten his full name. But for some reason, luck just wasn't never on his side. She froze and dropped the basket and ran away. Now our eldest son has grown up. Please don't come back and scare us. Hi there, Ziola here. Welcome back to my channel. So before we start today, let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like you've got great talent, but somehow when it's time to shine, things just fall apart? You did hard work, you know your stuff, but somehow no matter how much you do, people just don't really see you. Well, if you do ever feel that way, then you'll probably understand today's main character, Ye Sheng, a scholar who had all the talent in the world but couldn't seem to find his place in it. This story takes place in Huaiyang County, right here. There was once a scholar named Ye. Though over time people had forgotten his full name, what they do remember is how talented he was. His essays, his poems are elegant, thoughtful, and full of heart. But for some reason, luck just wasn't never on his side. No matter how hard he studied, every time the exam's result came out, his name was never there. Then one year, a new magistrate came to town, Ding Chenghe, a gentle and educated man from the northeast. When he came across Ye's writing, he was deeply moved. He called Ye into a talk, and the two of them just connect, like old friends meeting for the first time. From then on, Ding took Ye under his wing. He let him stay at his county office, gave him money for the books and candles, and often sent food to help his family get by. Then time passed, and soon it was exam season again, the big provincial exam. Now, back then, the imperial exam system was everything for the scholar. A quick side note, this was an ancient system in China where anyone, or at least in theory, could earn their way into government service by passing a series of super tough written exams. It was kind of like the only ticket out of poverty, the dream that kept generations of scholars going. So anyway, when the exam system came again, Magistrate Ding did everything he could help Ye. He praised him to the exam officials, and Ye performed brilliant. Everyone thought this would finally be his year. But when the result came out, his name still wasn't there. He was devastated, feeling like he'd failed both himself and the man who believed in him. Ding comforted him and promised, "When my post here ends, I'll take you with me to the capital." But before that could happen, Ye got really sick, and no matter what medicine he took, he just couldn't get better. Then, to make things worse, Ding lost his position and had to leave the county as well. He wrote to Ye saying that he will be waiting for him, but Ye is too weak to travel. He told Ding not to wait for him anymore. But still, Ding stayed. Just a few days later, Ye showed up at Ding's house. Even though he still kind of looked pale, but he told Ding that he's ready to go and thanked him for waiting. Ding was overjoyed. He packed his things, and then the next morning, the two of them left the town together. When they got back to Ding's hometown, he asked his son, Zaichang, to study under Ye. Ye moved in and started to teach him every day. Zaichang was 16. He's brilliant, bright, curious, but still kind of struggled with his backwood. Oh, and a side note, the 八股文, or 8-leg essay, was a strict writing format using in the imperial exam. It tested not just knowledge of Confucius classics, but also how you could follow the rules. Every sentence has to fit in a set of pattern. Think of it like today's MLA format, APA style, or the rigid structure of a legal brief. It wasn't about creativity, but more about precision and discipline. Anyway, let's continue. So with Ye's patient teaching, Zai Chang improved quickly. After just a year, he passed the provincial exam 6th place, and Ding was thrilled, but also a little sad. He said, "Sir, you helped my son succeed with only a fraction of your talent, and yet the world still hasn't seen your worth. How unfair is that?" Ye smiled and said softly, "Maybe that's just how my life is meant to be. But to have a friend who truly understands me, that's already more than enough." And later, Zai Chang went to the capital, passed the exam again, and became an official. He brought Ye with him, and they worked together side by side for a year. Finally, after all those years of disappointment, Ye himself passed the national exam. When Zai Chang was assigned to a post near Ye's hometown, he said gently, "You've waited so long for this moment. Go home, Mr. Ye. Go home in honor." When Ye finally made it home, he found the place run down and quiet. The yard overgrown, the house falling apart. His heart sank. He stepped inside, and just then, his wife came out with a basket in her hands. The moment she saw him, she froze and dropped the basket and ran away. Ye called softly after her, "It's me. I've done well now. It's only been a few years. You couldn't now know me?" From a distance, she said in a shaky voice, "You've been dead for years. Your coffin's still here. I couldn't bury you because we were too poor to afford a grave, and the kids were still young. Now our eldest son has grown up, and we were just about to bury you. Just please don't come back and scare us." And yet just stood there, silent and heartbroken. He strolled into the house, and there it was, a coffin in the middle of the room. It turns out the living Ye never went with Ding to his hometown. All those time he spent with Zai Chang, all the honor that he received was after his death. He took one look at the coffin and collapsed. Then he was gone. When his wife finally dared to look, all that was left was his clothes, folded and empty like a shell left behind. She cried and cried, holding the clothes in her hands. Later, when their son came home, he and the servants pieced together what had happened. When Zai Chang heard the news, he was heartbroken. He went straight back to Ye's home, helped arrange the funeral, and buried him with all the honor he deserved. He even supported Ye's son, paid for his schooling, and a year later, the boy passed his first exam just like his father always hoped he would. And Songling ends the story with a sigh. He wonders, can a ghost really stay so loyal to his dearest friends and biggest dream to the point that he forgets that he has already died? Most people wouldn't believe a story like this, but he, the author, does. Because for writers and scholars like him, their words, their work, carries their very soul. And when someone truly understands that, the person becomes more than a friend. They're a soulmate. But meeting such a person is rare. Most of us go through life feeling unseen, longing for someone who really gets us. And sometimes this world is cruel. It hides talent and reward luck instead. Still, the author reminds us, maybe life isn't about just failure and success, but about finding that friend or family or even just one person who sees your worth, even when the world doesn't. I'm Ziola. See you next time. Hi there, Ziola here. Do you ever find yourself missing those childhood stories as a teen or young adult? Some of them felt very scary when you first heard them, and some seemed pretty strange once you look back on them later. Before I moved to the US, I was already super familiar with Greek mythology, Bible stories, and a lot of classic Western fairy tales. But after I got here, I realized that most people around me had never even heard about the old myths or the stories of China. Some of my friends might know a bit about Japanese tales because of the anime they're watching, but Chinese tales, almost no one. That's why I'm starting this channel, to share some of the amazing stories I had grown up with. Some were told to me by my grandmother, and other came from this classic book Liaozhai, which literally translates to tales told at the dinner table. Anyway, I hope you enjoy these stories. Drop a comment to let me know what you think, and don't forget to subscribe.